Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode here on the channel. Today we have the debut of the NASCAR Legends series made up of current stars, past stars, as well as some content creators and even a couple of my paint scheme designers here in the series. So there you see the roster. I should mention right off the bat, unfortunately in the point standings the numbers do not line up with the names. That got a little bit messed up, but when it comes to the race stuff everything is lined up well and everything's okay to go. But I will fix this within the coming episodes here. But you can see the roster on your screen. We got the big content creators, which I'm really looking forward to. We got David Schildhouse, we got Winvow, we got Moonhead, and then we got Joey Stone going up against a field of current stars like Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch. Then you got past stars like Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, as well as Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick, all of those retired drivers as you look at the 14 race schedule. So you're only going to see this 14 times throughout this season, but very excited for these 14 events. Now, as you see, we also have a 5-race playoff, with the final race being at Eldora to decide a championship in the final 4. So very excited to see how this is going to play out here as you would get ready for the very first NASCAR Legends Series presented by Drive Thru Race here at the dirt track of Las Vegas. You will notice a few drivers have the same number. So what I did for an example, myself and Jeff Gordon are both 24, but I put 24A for my car, and then Jeff Gordon is the normal number 24. So just keep in mind that's going to be a bit of a thing here. Numbers aren't very important in this series as we went for more of an IROC style with a name on the side of the car. Tony Stewart still has his normal car. I'm probably actually going to change it. I thought it was just kind of cool to have Tony with his normal car, but now that I look at it, I definitely might change it here. As we were getting underway though on these opening laps, very short races, only 13 laps. I could increase the length. Let me know if you guys want me to increase the length of these races if you like it. As I was making some mistakes here very early on, though, as we went down into turn 3 around Tyler Reddick, Casey Kane up here in the mix up ahead, Michael Cozy Jr. there, Winvow there. We have Lation for the Antonio Williams team, an NFL player now for the Buffalo Bills as we were now moving up past Cozy. I can tell you I was messing with the driver ratings myself, and I can tell you that Michael Cozy, I was very surprised to see him down this far. He should definitely be up towards the top 5 going for a race win potentially, and so should a driver like David Schildhouse, Joey Stone, and Moonhead. So I was very surprised to see those guys struggling here as I was now making a move on Tyler Reddick up the inside into turn 3 on lap 5, already closing in towards the end of this race, though on lap 8 to the inside of Kyle Busch as Ryan Newman in the 6th car retired from our career mode quite a while back, and here he is leading the way in the very first race of this brand new series as we get past Kyle Busch, now running down the 4-time champion of Jeff Gordon as Kyle Busch actually gets back in front of myself here within the now final couple laps of this race, trying to fight up the inside of Gordon. A bit of a slide job right there, but I hit the outside wall. Now we're going to be 3 wide with Gordon and Kyle Busch into turns 1 there as you see Joey Stone just up ahead as Kyle gets back in front of myself, but we do clear Jeff Gordon for that 12th position here as I try to once again get up that inside of the 18, and sure enough we clear Kyle Busch on the exit of turns 4 with now 2 laps to go to the inside of Joey Stone, nearly making some contact with Joey now as we're almost a lap down. Newman is only a corner behind us here as we actually get into the back of Joey, and we put Joey Stone into the outside wall here and pass him on the exit of turns 4, but then I hit the outside wall, and now we're 3 wide with Joey and Kyle Busch into turns 1. Kyle gets by, so now it's 3 wide between myself, Jeff Gordon, and Joey Stone on this final lap here at the Las Vegas dirt track, down into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. There you see Joey in the middle, Gordon in the bottom, Kyle Busch at the very top, and Joey Stone is able to get the best of us 4 as we come through to cross the line in P13 for the very first NASCAR Legends Series race as you see the rest of the finishing order. Ryan Newman wins the first ever one. Kyle Larson up there in the top 5 along with Christopher Bell. Travis Brown, aka Moonhead, is the best of the content creators, and then we look through the rest. Joey Stone down there in P10, but then you got to go down to P20 for David Schildhouse and Michael Cozy Jr. in the second last position. Very surprised by that. Like I said, I made the driver ratings myself, and he definitely should be up towards the front of the field along with a guy like David Schildhouse as well. So very surprised by that, but either way, now as that race completes, we move on here into the Xfinity Series race at Phoenix Raceway. Though I should mention, let me know what you guys thought of that first race in the Legend Series. If you enjoyed it, I could definitely increase the length a little bit, maybe up to about 13% or so. I think I was running 7% length as we were underway though with Paul Menard behind the wheel for our Xfinity Series car in the LS Tractor 200 here in Phoenix as he went down into turns 1, making it 3 wide right off the bat, trying to get aggressive now as he would continue moving his way forwards here on the exit of turn 2, right behind that 9 of Sheldon Creed as it was currently up at the front. Justin Allgaier leading the way, and absolutely pretty much nothing happened for Paul Menard in this race. He came through to cross the line, and he had moved his way up about one position, and that was it. He was done for the whole race. We went down into turn 3. We cut straight to the final lap because, like I said, absolutely nothing had happened. Paul just didn't have the speed to run anybody down, and he was just playing defense the rest of the race. He came through to cross the line here at Phoenix Raceway for an 11th place finish. So not even in the top 10, unfortunately, now, as Justin Allgaier picks up the victory over Quinn Half, Tony Bradinger, Kevin Magnussen, and Sheldon Creed, your top 5 as well. You see Max Gutierrez up there in the mix. Ty Gibbs, I think it was 7th. He will be replacing Denny Hamlin in the career mode next season. As you guys know, if you watched the Daytona 500 episode, Hamlin announcing his retirement at the end of the season, with Gibbs moving into that 11 car at the end of this season. Here as we come through with the brand new Razor paint scheme on the car, made by Lation, a well-known designer in the NASCAR community, especially on Twitter. Let me know what you guys think of this paint scheme on the car. Originally, we had a paint scheme plan. The one in Daytona was going to be the full-time Razor scheme, but we didn't get the feedback we really wanted from that car, so that, like we mentioned before, is going to just be the crown jewel race car now, and this will likely be our full-time Razor primary scheme here. So let me know what you think about it now as we would come through to cross the line in qualifying with a 39.932 and qualify P18. You do notice kind of the rainbow effect here with the Razor, because they do have the Razor Chroma where they have a whole bunch of different colors, and that's kind of the style here that we got going on with this paint scheme now. As you see the qualifying order, some big names here down towards the bottom. Lewis Hamilton at the very bottom of the field there in P40. So unfortunate there for Lewis as we look through the rest of the qualifying order. Ryan Blaney in the McLaren there in P21. Then just outside of the top 10, Derek Kraus in that new 2311 racing car. And then up towards the top 5, you got Cindric, you got Eckes, Eric Jones, Kyle Larson, and Kyle Busch there up at the front, with Busch being on pole. Alright, boys, it's been an interesting season. You know, it didn't get off to a great start, but now we've finished in the top 10, at least at Sonoma. And we didn't have the speed I thought we should have had at Sonoma, so that's a bit concerning, but we'll see what we really have today, I think. So let's go have a good one. And there you hear myself on the radio to the team, and I mentioned there that we really didn't have the speed at Sonoma that I thought we should have had. We didn't have a winning car, which was a bit odd. Now, as you see, Haley Deegan failed pre-race inspection starting at the back of the field. Brad Keselowski failed optical scanning station multiple times in that 41 car, so he as well starts at the back. So 2 Stewart Haas cars sent to the back of the field here as we get ready to take the green flag. But I was mentioning we didn't have a whole lot of speed at Sonoma. We still had top 10 speed, which is good at least, but it seems like as we get this race underway, that Hendrick Motorsports right now, or at least us in the 24, are a little bit lacking on speed compared to what we had last season, when we had an 8-win season and a championship for the first time in our Cup Series career. Maybe we are having that kind of championship slump that you see some drivers have in real life, and now here we are just fresh off of our first Cup Series championship, and right now we've only had one top 10 in the first 3 races of the season now, as we should have been top 10 honestly in all 3. Just things went wrong at Daytona, things went wrong at Homestead Miami on an overtime restart, and then Sonoma we finally were able to get into that top 10. We made some mistakes at Sonoma, but we still had a strong finish out of it now as we come through turns 3 and out of turns 4. Not a great start here in opening lap for myself as we kind of lose a couple positions here as we go down this front straightaway. Clear of the 3 of Austin Dillon, so then I now slide down to the inside, make a 3 wide with Ryan Blaney as well as Tyler Reddick. I could have made it 4 wide into turns 1 here with Custer, Hamrick, as well as the 45 of Kraus, but I decided better of it now, so we just maintain 3 wide as we come through the center of turns 1 and 2. On the far outside, you see Ryan Preece in the Penske car now, as he's had a bit of a rough start this season with Penske Racing, moving from Wood Brothers in that 21 to that number 2 car. Penske as a whole hasn't been the greatest other than Joey Logano, and then you got on that Wood Brothers Racing team this season Anthony Alfredo in that 21 car, who's been doing decent now as we come through out of turns 4. But obviously the big surprise this season has been Brandon Jones. Won the Daytona 500 and then went to Sonoma and blew the field away, which I don't think anybody saw coming. So 2 wins for Gaunt Brothers Racing, and all of a sudden it looks like that could maybe be almost like a new Furniture Row type story, where they are a very small team, come out of nowhere and start performing, winning races, and maybe they could be a championship contender. So we'll have to wait and see if Brandon Jones, I guess, stuck it out, waited for that team to get good, and now here they are winning some races. Now he has 3 wins in his career. Last season he won a race at Phoenix in a field strategy race, but the 2 races he's won this season, just straight up won them. Daytona, obviously there's a bit of luck involved, but Sonoma, he was just the best car out there. Now as we go down into turns 1 on this 5th lap, behind our GOWEN racing car of Daniel Suarez. Now you got to be a little bit careful around Suarez. Of course, him being my driver, I want to see him succeed, so I was trying to help him a little bit. Now he was running P10, I was trying to push him up to the back of the McLaren of Eric Jones in front of us. Jones been having a very solid season, probably the best start he's gotten off to with that McLaren Racing team. Now is Harrison Burton, though. He had run myself down in the distance. I was seeing drivers like Bubba Wallace climbing through the field very quickly. He started at the very bottom of the field along with Lewis Hamilton. Here as we go down this back straightaway, though, we clear Eric Jones in the 0-2, and now we look to the inside of Daniel Suarez. Like I said, I was trying to help Daniel, but I realized that the 19 and other cars were coming pretty quick behind us, so I decided, you know what, we got to get a move on it. Daniel doesn't have the fastest car here today. We got to work on that. That's, of course, on me. We got to make sure that car gets good enough to compete on a regular basis for top 10s. Last episode was the first race we finished with the GOWEN racing car, and we got a top 10 out of it, so I was pretty satisfied with that. Now, as Burton actually gets past me, I decided to just kind of let him have the inside because I saw how fast his car was. So as you can see now on lap 11, he had driven away from me, and then Bubba Wallace was running me down there as I'm starting to deal with some handling issues. His car was starting to get really loose on the exit of these corners, and that allowed Bubba to get right to the back of me as we went down into turn 3. This is for the final stage point, and as we go down into turn 3, Bubba does get clear and take over P10, but then TJ Majors tells me that Bubba's going to be pitting right here. So out of turns 4, sure enough, the 23 car comes into the pit lane, and I was very surprised by that call because nobody else was coming into the pit lane. We come through to start the final lap now of stage 1, and you can see absolutely nobody had come into the pit, so Bubba was now a lap down, so he's going to have to take the lucky dog at the end of stage 1 when we all pit, and that's not going to help him at all because he's going to have to go to the end of the longest line. So a very baffling call right there by the 2311 team as I get a little bit loose again as we go down this back straightaway, though, for the final time. Kyle Busch leads the way through turns 3 and out of turns 4, and he is going to come through to just cruise through to a stage 1 victory now as we come through turns 3 and 4. You can see just island of our own we're on right now. Bowman, our teammate, way ahead, and then 11th place is way behind as we get a caution moments before we get to the line. Elliott there in P11, Ryan Preece in 12th place. So a bit of a weird first stage for us. We're, like I said, on an island of our own at the end of it now as we do get 1 point at least. Denny Hamlin up there in second. The Red Bull Racing team with Christian Eckes, a rookie behind the wheel, has really been performing well so far this season. As you can see myself making some adjustments to the car, dropping the right side tire pressures and then putting the wedge from 50.0 to 50.2. Now as you see the rest of the order in your top left of the screen. We've been keeping an eye on Lewis Hamilton this season, and there you see right now P31 for Lewis, who started in the 40th spot. Bubba Wallace currently in 40th after that weird pit strategy, and he will be forced to take the lucky dog and start at the back of the field as we do gain 1 position, though, and move up into P9 on the inside, overtaking our Hendrick Motorsports teammate of Alex Bowman. Now as stage 2 gets underway, and of course for the start of stage 2, it is time to get amped here from Auto Club Speedway. And there you have the AM segment here from Auto Club. Now behind that 22 of Joey Logano is actually getting the outside wall. Just a silly mistake on my end as Brad Keselowski and that Stuart Haas Racing 41 Worth Ford Mustang chills in that 11th position behind myself. Haley Deegan coming up into the mix. Both Keselowski and Deegan started at the back of the field after failing some type of inspection and whatnot. Here as I was also able to look up the inside of William Byron, one of our affiliate teammates, as we came through at turns to a little bit of contact actually with William on the exit of the corner. Now as we're up the inside ahead of Ryan Preece, and we're starting to move our way forwards, but once again I'm noticing there's just a bit of a lack of speed in this car. That was behind us, the 88 car. Byron goes sliding and saves it through turns 3 and 4, but I was very surprised because when Byron and myself made contact at the very exit of turns 2, a whole straightaway later into turns 3, he still loses the car. I was very surprised by that, as Kyle Busch, he was continuing to lead, and stage 2 was going by very quick now as we had passed Ryan Preece, but as we came through out of turns 4 now on lap 9, Preece actually fights back up the inside, so we're just kind of in this Penske Racing sandwich with Logano up in front of us, the two of Preece on our inside, as you see me heavily side drafting Preece down this front straightaway here as we went down towards turns 1, but unfortunately Preece is going to be able to hold on to that 8th position. But as we come through to 2 laps to go, side by side between Preece and Logano, I decide to put the attack on both of them, make it 3 wide into turns 1 here, in the Auto Club 400 now is up ahead. You can see Burton, Matt DiBenedetto, Kyle Larson, Christian Eckes all going at it, and I believe Denny Hamlin as well. Sure enough, yes, there you see Hamlin in the scene right there as we do, though, clear Ryan Preece as well as Joey Logano out of turns 2 as we approach the final lap of stage 2. P7 currently, and surprisingly this season, P7 would be one of our best stage finishes overall so far. It's not been the greatest season. It has been no mistake so far as we come through to turns 4. And you look at the rest of the schedule, it's going to be a big shakeup now as we have Phoenix coming up here, but once we get to about race 8 or 9 or so, things really start to change up with that schedule here with Road America, Gateway, all those different types of tracks coming into the schedule. Now is Logano on this final lap in stage 2 up my inside, but then the caution actually comes out through turns 1 and 2, and we do get P7 here in the second stage as Joey Logano and Ryan Preece and then Brad Keselowski round out the top 10.
How does the car feel?
Yeah, I mean, it feels better than stage 1, Jay. I mean, those adjustments work, but we definitely need to go a little bit further. We're still lacking something, man.
We'll work on finding some speed.
There you hear it on the radio. We'll work on it, but you see we do make some adjustments, tighten up the car a little bit more because it still felt a little bit too free on the exit of the corners as Kyle Busch though picks up another stage victory as we get P7 here in stage 2 now as we're getting ready for this third and final stage. Lewis Hamilton now up into P29. He's slowly but surely working his way forwards now as it's going to be a lot of fun to watch him throughout the season as we move up though into P5, gaining 2 spots on the pit lane. So now on the inside of row number 3, right behind Denny Hamlin in his final season of his Cup Series career. Now the third and final stage of his final race at Auto Club is underway now with 19 laps to go as we go down towards turns 1. The Red Bull up in the mix with Christian Eckes behind the wheel. Kyle Larson, our teammate, on the front row as Logano gets into the back of us into turns 1, and he is not messing around whatsoever. He pushes me up the track into the side of the Red Bull of Eckes. Now he goes sideways 3 wide behind us. I get hit in the back from DiBenedetto, and all of a sudden it just turns into a bit of a mess here, but thankfully we all keep it going in the right direction. I mean, Logano didn't wreck us. We gotta give him credit there, but he did not hesitate to just send us into the corner now as we go down into turn 3. Now 3 wide in the middle. Deegan on the inside goes by now as well. The 10 of DiBenedetto goes by. Her teammate, of course, as we come through out of turns 4 up the inside still of Eckes. Our teammate, Chase Elliott, is now at my inside. I can't go anywhere right here. I'm just kind of stuck, so I try to get to the back of DiBenedetto and push him so I can get clear of Chase Elliott, but unfortunately it was just not working here as we went down into turns 1, so I just kind of had to stay in the middle, and we're still in the middle 3 wide through turns 1 and out of turns 2, but a very messy start here to the start of this third and final stage when all of a sudden we looked like we had a chance there in P5 to start the stage. Well, now we're here now outside of the top 10 as Harrison Burton looks up my inside. Bubba Wallace has climbed his way back throughout the field, and he is going to look to the inside as we come through out of turns 4, so we're dropping down the order, just trying to find a chance to get back down to that inside, especially through turns 3 and 4. So Bubba is going to get clear down this front straightaway, so down to P14 with 17 laps to go. Down the back straightaway though into turn 3. Now up the inside of DiBenedetto here. Everyone's kind of getting stuck now as Denny Hamlin is out in front. Kyle Larson is side by side with Kyle Busch there as myself and Bubba have just a little bit of a moment right there as we came through out of the corner. Actually got into the quarter panel of him, but fortunately he saves it. DiBenedetto actually right on our right hand side blows a tire, and the caution comes out here with 16 laps remaining at Auto Club Speedway, and it's a very, very close situation on field. I felt like here, if we stay out, we actually might make it, and I was looking at everybody around us. Everybody was staying out, so I was thinking that we actually might be very close to making it here if we do stay out. So I didn't even bother or even consider coming into the pit lane. So we now get ready to go green from the 13th position here for what could be the final restart of the day. lining up on the inside behind that 2311 car driven by Bubba Wallace, now doing a lot better than his teammate here today of Derek Kraus in that 45 car now, as they've had a bit of a rough start to this season with this 2311 racing team in general with the two cars now. They got the 23, they got the 45 of Kraus, but Kraus right now struggling quite heavily here as we go down into turns one behind that 23. 3 wide behind us between Alex Bowman, the number one car of Noah Gragson, and his teammate of Tyler Reddick in that 42. Chip Ganassi Racing, a team that's struggling quite a bit as well this season, as we're 3 wide with Harrison Burton as well as our teammate of Chase Elliott on that far outside as we try to work our way back towards the top 10 position. But I also did realize that sure enough, we are not going to make it onto the on field to the end of this race as we go down into turns 1 on lap 39, trying to complete the pass on that 4 car of Haley Deegan, another driver that's had a really rough start to the season here in her rookie season, of course, in the Cup Series. So you got to give it time. But Christian Eckes right now, who is a driver that Haley Deegan is going up against for Rookie of the Year, right now Eckes is looking like he's going to run away with Rookie of the Year here as we're up the inside now of Brad Keselowski with 11 laps to go. We make a pass on him for P9. Then, sure enough, we find up the inside of Joey Logano as we came to the 10 laps to go into turns 1. So we pass him, get up the inside of his Penske Racing teammate as Kyle Busch was now leading. There was a bit of a 3-car breakaway between Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, as well as Kyle Larson now, as they were all pretty evenly matched at the later points of this race now, as Priest is able to actually defend me here and stay ahead of us as we go down this back straightaway. So we settle in behind him in that 7th position as we dive down into turn 3, trying to complete the pass, but it's really tough to make it happen here as once I clip that apron, it slows the car down so much right now as we come through out of turns 4. Now Harrison Burton up my inside as we go down this front straightaway. Up ahead, you got William Byron, you got Eckes all in the mix with 9 laps to go. We know that 19 car of Harrison Burton has got some speed here today, and he is showing it right now as we dive down into turns 1. Kyle Larson to the inside as Kyle Busch and Hamlin are up towards the top of the track, and that puts Larson out in front as we come through out of turns 2, trying to be the first Hendrick Motorsports winner of the season, and not only that, become the first non-Toyota winner on the season. But Hamlin, sure enough, would actually take the lead away from Kyle Larson, so he was leading now with 8 laps to go, and I decided, you know what, we're going to pit right here on lap 43 because we can't make it to the end of this race, so we might as well pit, get out of the traffic, and then hopefully gain some more time towards the end of this thing when everybody cycles through out of the pit lane. So we come in for half a can of fuel. That's all we need to make it to the end here. 3.1 second pit stop now. So very good there as we come through out of our pit box. No traffic around us, so we're in good shape here. We can just try to get some good lap times going. As we came through to lap 46, I had actually lost time to the leader of Denny Hamlin, so that was concerning now. But pit stops were about to get underway for some of these front runners now as we run P39, just hoping, of course, that no caution comes out. Please stay green as we come through on lap 47 now. You see on the track map some drivers coming into the pit lane. Kyle Larson had actually now gotten to the lead as we come through out of turns 4. But out of turns 4, Larson, Hamlin, drivers like Kyle Busch, they're all coming into the pit lane. But Matt DiBenedetto elects to stay out along with a driver like Derek Kraus in the 45 as well, as you see me pass the 22 of Logano. So we are already making up some time, but now a very interesting scenario was happening here. We're cycling through to come around this time and pass all of those cars on the pit lane, but Matt DiBenedetto, as we're approaching 2 to go, DiBenedetto might try and stay out and make it to the end of this race here, as he's approaching the final lap here in Auto Club Speedway. He had 1 win last season at the Charlotte Roval, 2 wins the season prior in his first season for Stewart Haas Racing, as we come through to 2 laps to go, passing all of these cars, and we pass Hamlin, we pass Eckes, we make up a bunch of ground there, but DiBenedetto starts the final lap as we go down into turns 1 and 2. Even Kyle Larson is going to actually lose ground to us as we pass him out of turns 2, so we move up into P8, but we made the wrong call. Everybody made the wrong call, it looks like, or DiBenedetto just saved more fuel than us or something, because we go down into turn 3, and sure enough, it looks like DiBenedetto is going to make it to the finish of this race and win as we go into turn 3. Logano actually goes around into the corner, into the outside wall heavily now, as he's going to get nailed on the right side by Bubba Wallace. A huge hit, and then he gets sent up and over by his former teammate Brad Keselowski in the 41. The caution comes out, but a big crash right there at the end of this race for Joey Logano. Bubba Wallace took a massive hit as well into the right side of Joey, and DiBenedetto wins the race, and we end up P8 as Ryan Blaney, Derek Kraus, Tyler Reddick, and Alex Bowman were the other 4 drivers along with the Benedetto to somehow save enough fuel and make it to the end of this race. And they very well might have run out going into turn 3, I don't know, but the caution of course saved them. And we have yet another wild finish here to one of the career mode races to start this season. As you see the rest of the order, our car with Daniel Suarez behind the wheel down in P25, Lewis Hamilton in 31st place, Briscoe down in 34th, Brandon Jones has won 2 races down in 39th, and then Daniel Hemrick actually DNF'd in the 12th car, so at the very bottom of the field for him. As now in the next episode we don't have any more Dirt Series racing. It'll be probably another episode or 2 at least before another one, but the Truck Series returns at Atlanta Motor Speedway with the G Fuel number 77 truck, and then we have Atlanta here in the Xfinity Series as well coming up, as you see the playoff grids for both those series. But then we go to Las Vegas in the Cup Series, a part of the modded schedule, so we're going to get a good idea of what we could potentially have for the season finale later this season, of course, for the championship race at Las Vegas. So we go to Las Vegas twice this season, one of the handful of tracks that we do visit twice on the schedule. So as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you do know what to do. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch this episode and any of the other ones. You see the playoff grid for the Cup Series. Lewis Hamilton's actually inside the playoffs, and that's pretty much just due to his really good performance at Sonoma Raceway, the road course now. As you see the Xfinity, or sorry, not the Xfinity grid, the Legend Series grid here for the Dirt Series there with Ryan Newman locked into the playoffs currently. And then we look through the rest of the order, all of course in the same spot where the race had come to a finish, because we're only one race in to this new series. Is Blaney down at the bottom with Michael Closey Jr., aka Winvow, down there in P23. But before we end this episode here, I'd just of course like to say a quick thank you to the GOWEN Racing members here on the channel of MJ, Joseph 9001, Timothy Arline, Bubba Jr., Brett Durward, Dark Gengar Gaming, AJ Vasseur, King Matt XL, Dana9302, as well as Russell Dixon. Your support really does help me out so much, and I really do appreciate it. And I'd like to say thank you once again for taking the time out of your day to everybody to watch this episode and other ones on the channel. So I'll see you guys in the next one at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Have a great day, everybody.